My husband mocked my weight, and I waited until he needed me most. He was stretched out on that stiff hospital bed in Houston, tubes in his arms, heart monitor ticking like a bad drumbeat. His skin was clammy, his voice weaker than I'd ever heard it. He reached for me, eyes wide and desperate. "Jenna, please, don't leave me like this. I need you." I just stood there, my burgundy coat draped over my arms, watching him with the calm I'd been saving for years. My lips curled into the faintest smile. Not the kind of smile you give someone you love, but the kind you wear when the scales finally balance. Because my husband, Derek, the man who mocked my wheat at every turn, who called me plush in front of strangers, who smirked when I couldn't zip a dress, who once told me I should be grateful he stayed married to me, was now clinging to me like a lifeline. I leaned in close so he could see every ounce of my composure, every hint of power he once thought I'd never have. "Oh, Derek, now you need me." And that's where this story really begins. But to understand why that moment tasted so sweet, you need to know the years of poison he fed me. One joke at a time, one insult too many, until I finally decided that when the day came, and trust me, I knew it would, I wouldn't save him with kindness. I'd save him with something much darker. But before I proceed any further, if you are new to this channel, kindly like, share, subscribe. Oh, don't also forget to turn on notifications so you will never miss the jaw-dropping real-life revenge stories as they drop every day. Now, with that out of the way, let me take you back to how it all started. My name is Jenna Morales, and if you'd met me 5 years ago, you wouldn't have recognized me. Back then, I was the girl who said yes to everything, smiled even when it hurt, and convinced myself that teasing was just another word for love. I met Derek at a cookout in Dallas. He had the kind of easy grin that pulled people in, the type of man who could flip a burger with one hand while texting with the other. He was charming, no doubt, and in the beginning, he made me feel chosen. I wasn't the skinniest girl in the crowd, but he said he liked real women. I was 27, tired of dating losers, and ready for someone who looked like he knew what he was doing. We married a year later. That's when the jokes began. It started small. He'd poke my stomach when I reached for dessert and laugh. "Better watch it, babe, or I'll have to roll you into bed." At first, I laughed too, because what else do you do when the man you love makes fun of you in front of people? But the jokes didn't stop. They grew sharper, crueler. At restaurants, he'd grab the bread basket before I could and say, "Carbs aren't your friend." At the mall, he'd point at mannequins and say, "Don't worry, they don't come in your size." At parties, he'd tell his buddies, "She's cute, right? Built for comfort, not for speed." Everyone laughed. Except me. I'd cry in dressing rooms, squeezing into jeans 2 sizes too small because I didn't want to give him more ammunition. He'd knock on the door and say, "Need the plus section, Jenna?" with that smirk. Can you imagine your own husband reducing you to a punchline? But here's the thing, Derek wasn't just cruel. He was arrogant, and arrogance makes people sloppy. See, while he was busy mocking me, I was busy noticing things. The way he left bills unopened on the counter, the way he gambled money on fantasy football leagues and forgot to pay the mortgage on time. The way he made fun of me for eating ice cream, but hid bags of candy in his car like a kid hiding homework from his mom. He thought I was too soft to ever stand up to him. What he didn't realize was that every insult, every joke, and every sideways glance was sharpening me. And then came the betrayal that sealed his fate. It was a Saturday night, the kind where the air feels heavy and sticky. Derek had been drinking with his friends at a bar downtown. I got a ride with my cousin to pick him up because he was too drunk to drive. When I walked in, I found him with his arm around a 22-year-old girl with bleached hair, calling her Skinny Minnie and telling her she was exactly his type. He didn't see me at first, but his friends did. Their faces said everything. When he finally noticed me, he slurred, "Relax, Jenna, it's just a joke." That word, again, joke. I didn't scream. I didn't throw a drink. I didn't cry. I just walked out, drove home, and tucked that night deep in my chest. That was the moment I stopped loving him. And that was the moment I started planning. Because the best revenge isn't loud. It's patient. It waits until the other person needs you most. And Derek, he was about to need me more than he ever imagined.
Derek's downfall didn't come with one big explosion. It was slower, quieter, and uglier. The kind of collapse you almost feel guilty enjoying. Almost. When he lost his sales job, Derek acted like it was nothing. "Restructuring," he told anyone who asked. "I'll land somewhere better." But the truth was obvious. No one wanted a washed-up fast-talker who couldn't deliver. The cracks showed quick. The boys' nights dried up once his bar tabs went unpaid. His so-called friends stopped calling when he had nothing left to brag about. And the women he snuck around with, they scattered fast once the money and charm were gone. That's when he turned to his real mistress, junk food. Pizza boxes started stacking by the trash, like leaning towers. Half-eaten fried chicken lived in the fridge next to flat beer. He'd sit on the couch in stained sweats, double-fisting burgers and whiskey like it was a sport. I'd walk past him and he'd grunt instead of speaking, too busy licking grease off his fingers. It was almost funny. The man who mocked me for eating dessert was now polishing off a pint of ice cream at midnight straight from the carton. The man who once said I should be grateful he stayed married to me now couldn't climb a flight of stairs without wheezing. And before you could say Jack Robinson, his body started betraying him. The weight piled on fast. His once pressed shirts strained at the buttons. His belt found new notches and then gave up altogether. His workouts stopped. His beer grid grew into something that looked permanent. Then came the sickness. First, stomach cramps, then shortness of breath, then dizzy spells so bad he had to grab the counter just to stay upright. Finally, he dragged himself to the doctor. I sat in that sterile office beside him while the doctor read the test results. Derek tried to joke, tried to flash that old grin, but even he knew it was gone. The doctor's tone was serious, almost heavy. He said, "Mr. Morales, your heart is under strain. Years of drinking, poor diet, and stress have caught up to you. If you don't make immediate changes, and I mean now, you're heading towards something life-threatening. Surgery may even be necessary." Derek's face drained of color. For the first time, he wasn't laughing at someone else's expense. He looked at me, the wife he mocked for years about my body, as though I was his only lifeline. He said, "Jenna, I need you." And that's when it hit me. The irony, the justice, the cruel, perfect symmetry. The man who ridiculed me for my body had eaten and drunk himself into the very thing he hated. And now, he expected me to save him. Oh, Derek, if only you knew how long I'd been waiting for this moment. I didn't give him an answer right away. That would have been too easy. Instead, I let him stew in his own panic. Silence makes people reveal who they really are, and Derek was unraveling fast. At home, the decline was impossible to ignore.
He couldn't walk across the living room without sweating. He'd puff up the stairs like he'd climbed Everest. He started sleeping on the recliner because lying flat pressed too hard on his chest. The same man who used to smirk at me in dressing rooms was now hiding behind baggy hoodies, ashamed of the body he built on whiskey and wings. And me? I played the role of dutiful wife. On the surface. "Oh, Derek, maybe cut back on the beer," I'd say sweetly, while restocking the fridge with more of the cheap stuff he liked. "Maybe you should eat healthier," I'd add, while placing a greasy takeout bag on the table with his name on it. He never questioned it. He thought I was supporting him. But really, I was handing him the very rope he was tightening around his neck. Sometimes he'd ask me to join him for meals, as if driving me back into his pit would make him feel less alone. I'd smile, take a tiny bite of salad, and watch him inhale half a pizza, his face red and shiny. Every bite he took was another insult answered, another joke repaid. The best revenge doesn't shout. It whispers. It looks like kindness until it's too late. The doctor had told him to change his lifestyle immediately. Instead, Derek leaned on me. "You'll take care of me, right, Jenna? You won't let me fall apart?" I would tuck the blanket around his shoulders and whisper, "Of course, honey." And then I'd step into the kitchen and quietly toss the diet brochures he'd brought home straight into the trash. Weeks passed. His chest pain grew worse. The trips to the doctor more frequent. Each visit ended with another warning: cut the junk, stop drinking, lose weight, or else. Derek would nod solemnly, promise to change, then come home and beg me for a beer just to take the edge off. And I always gave him one, always, with a smile. The irony never got old. He mocked me for years about my body, and now his was betraying him in ways mine never did. He was the punchline now. And then came the night it all snapped into place. Derek clutched his chest harder than I'd ever seen, his face pale, his lips trembling. He gasped, "Jenna, please, hospital." I drove him, calm as ice, while he writhed in the passenger seat. By the time we reached the ER, sweat soaked through his shirt. They rushed him back, wires and beeping monitors everywhere. And there he was, pathetic, broken, gasping for me. The man who said I'd never be good enough now couldn't live without me. I leaned in, close enough for him to feel my breath. "Oh, Derek, now you need me?" But what I did next, well, that's the part you're not ready for yet. The ER smelled like bleach and fear. Monitors beeped in frantic rhythms, nurses rushed by with clipboards and IV bags, and Derek lay there like a man finally stripped of every ounce of swagger. His cheeks sagged, sweat dripped down his temples, and the once cocky grin was gone, replaced by raw, ugly terror. "Jenna," he rasped, clutching at my sleeve with trembling fingers. Don't leave me. I need you." Oh, how the mighty fall. I folded my arms, standing just out of his reach. The years of mocking, the sneers in public, the laughter at my expense, they all replayed in my head, each one a nail in the coffin of my patience. "Need me now, huh?" I said softly, tilting my head. "Funny, Derek. You didn't need me when you were calling me fat in front of your friends. You didn't need me when you told that bleach blonde girl she was your type. But now, with wires in your chest, suddenly I'm the only one who matters?" His eyes widened, glistening, but he didn't speak. Maybe because he couldn't, or maybe because he finally knew he had nothing left to say. The doctor came in, adjusting his glasses, tone clinical. "Mr. Morales, you'll need surgery immediately, and recovery will be long. You'll need strict care at home afterward. a supportive environment, a partner willing to manage diet, medication, and follow-up. Derek turned his gaze to me, desperation pouring out of every pore. "Jenna, you'll help me, right? You'll be there, please?" That was it. The moment I'd been waiting for. The scales tipped, justice balanced. He thought I'd save him because that's what wives are supposed to do. Loyal, supportive, blind. I leaned in close. Let him see the steely calm in my eyes. "You always said I wasn't built for leadership, Derek, that I was just support. Well, guess what? I finally agree. I'm not here to lead you through this, and I sure as hell won't be your support anymore."
I slipped my wedding ring off, placed it on the tray beside his untouched water, and whispered in his ear, low enough that only he could hear. "You spent years starving me of love. Now let's see how you survive without mine." Then I straightened up, turned to the doctor, and said in the sweetest voice I could muster, "Do whatever you think is best for him, doctor. He'll need someone." And with that, I walked out of the room. The sound of Derek calling my name, weak and broken, followed me down the hall like a ghost. But I didn't look back, not once. And honestly, isn't it ironic? Derek spent years mocking me for my weight, only to eat and drink himself into a hospital bed. Who is the punchline now? Tell me, what would you have done? Sat by his side, feeding him low-sodium soup and holding his hand? Or would you have done exactly what I did? Smile, walk away, and let karma finish the job. Enjoyed this dark revenge story? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the bell for more shocking real-life revenge tales. Drop a comment below. Was I too cold, or did Derek get exactly what he deserved? Your thoughts might just inspire the next story.